Hello, everyone. Let's take the picture down. Yes, hello. Let's wait for a few more minutes. If more people zooming in today, I know there are a lot of people signed up for the recording, but maybe we have a few more people live. Don't worry, or don't get irritated because you see me double here on the screen. I work with the iPad and the computer. So, hello, Gabriela. Hello, nice to see you. Hello, Astrid. Maybe we can see your face if you like to show. We'll just wait for 2 more minutes. I like your background, Gabriela. There are some faces. Hello, hello, nice to see you. 2 faces. We just give it 2 more minutes. Sometimes people also zoom in late. Looks like daughter and mother. Yes, nice. Nice pictures from gardens. Nice. Astrid, where are you from? I think if I remember, Netherlands, huh? Yes, I saw, yeah. Okay, I would just say to honor all of our times. Whoever is coming in later will join. Otherwise, everyone will enjoy. The others will enjoy the recording. It's always interesting how many people sign up and then actually turn up in the live. It's wow, but it doesn't matter. So welcome to this masterclass, Ayurveda for Women Health. My name is Nancy. And yeah, thank you for coming and being interested in Ayurveda and in the topic women health. I think it became really a passion of mine. I'm studying already for almost 8 years now, Ayurveda, but over the last 1-2 years, women health, in particular the menstrual cycle, became really a passion topic of mine, and I'm still learning, and I'm enjoying to share this knowledge, this Ayurvedic ancient knowledge, because I believe we all women, doesn't matter with age and what age, and actually as younger we can learn about that, as more important is it. It's such an so important topic, and I see it every day in my own practice, that really I can say every woman steps into my Ayurveda place here on Koh Phangan has menstrual problems. And this is really, I find this really, really shocking. And I wish for myself, I would have learned about this much, much earlier. Yeah, but unfortunately, no one really teaches us. And this is no judgment about every mom, especially there's someone sitting with the mom, or maybe even is another mom, 3 generations. Myself, I don't have kids, but I think it's such an important topic to share and bring across to in whichever age we are. It's never too late to start and adapt more of that knowledge. And I don't know, Astrid and your mom, if you're already into Ayurveda or have some Ayurvedic knowledge, or it's quite new. You have, wonderful. I know Gabriela has as well, Veronica has as well. Okay, we don't start from the scratch. So let me just share my screen with you. I have prepared a presentation. let me just 1 second. I did something and then. So again, welcome, ladies. I love to bring in this to my master classes. We call it Asha Rasayana, rejuvenating attitudes. So I just want to keep everything what I do and share. I want to keep that space safe and protected with a positive energy. And I really, appreciate a communication according to Ahimsa. So if there's anything you want to ask or comment to, always be appreciative. And let's keep the questions to the topic today, and that we also keep the time frame for all of us. And I would appreciate if you just turn off any distraction and mute yourself as you already are. And I always recommend to put the smartphones and the smartwatches to the side. But I think I have a feeling you don't wear a smartwatch. I find them very distracting. I don't know why so many people are addicted to them. So this is just my Asha Rasayana for my practice. And I also want to put a disclaimer into this point and saying I'm not a medical professional. I'm not an Ayurvedic doctor. And I will not give any medical advice in this masterclass. I'm just sharing knowledge based on my studies, Ayurvedic studies, and understanding of my own Ayurvedic practice as an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant. So let's start here. Let's start here and tune in as a woman, as a source of life, because we are all created and came into this world through a woman. And we are women doing an amazing job and going through different challenges in our life, which sometimes I feel and see we are not really acknowledged or honored for, especially when we come later in this class talking about menstruation. So there are numerous hormonal changes we are going through, from puberty, pregnancy, after childbirth, if that is our path, and entering menopause. All that is our challenges. Man, for example, or man's body don't experience the way we do it. They move through life and phases of their life much more evenly than we do. I think this is just something we need to honor, and everyone in our surrounding need to see as well. Especially, I'm saying this in the movement of feminism or anti-feminism. There's so much going on there through we women or the young generations want to be equal to men. They want to be same. And I think this is a very, in my perspective, a very dangerous movement, because we are very, very simple. We are not equal to men. Yeah, we are different build with a different body, with exactly the changes I just mentioned, and we have different organs. We are menstruating, so we can't be equal to men. And exactly this is actually one root cause nidan of so many of our female disorders, because we are just wanted to live similar, equal to men, in this movement of anti-feminism. And therefore, especially important for women to pay close attention to their health and to, really appropriate support their bodies in each of the phase of their life. And we will speak about the different stages of womanhood. So for thousands of years, Ayurveda, the science of life, a way of living, is helping women to combat these issues effectively. And actually, Ayurveda really teaches us or gives us the knowledge of empowering as women to be attuned with our bodies and our health through the different stages and challenges we are facing in our life. I want to bring up this because I feel this is very, very important for you as a woman, for you as a mother, and for maybe all young teenager watching that, or moms watching that with their daughters, which would be really my wish. I got this data from India, but just before I went through my presentation again, I actually Googled especially the effect of endometriosis globally. But let's start from the beginning. So there's a rising increase in female health problems. And I just put a few on here. There are much more other female health problems or disorders, as you know, than I have on the screen. So just 77% rising in teenage girls having menstrual problems. So already in young age, girls starting to have problems in their menstruation, might be cramps, might be painful menstruation, absence of menstruation, or excess bleeding. 34 to 44% rising endometriosis. And this is again just India. Look at this, what I found underneath. The World Health Organization is saying that globally 10%, which are 190 million women, have reproductive age, or girls, are globally affected of endometriosis. This is so shocking, rising. I don't know, you have observed this yourself, or maybe you're suffering from endometriosis, but I have to say, I'm just shocked in this work I'm doing. And of course, I'm still a student and studying this, learning more about endometriosis. This will, of course, affect the 30% of infertility that will rise much higher than 30% over the next years, which is very sad. PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, over 20% rising, and then in the end 67% rising or increasing that women suffering from dysmenorrhea, painful menses. Every woman I actually know almost suffers from painful menstruation. Again, this is just a few numbers to raise awareness. Just shortly, because you might don't know me, for everyone watching or everyone watching the replay, my name is Nancy Hüttig. I'm original from Germany. I'm an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, educator, and therapist, also a yoga teacher. I'm living here in Koh Phangan in Thailand, southeast of Thailand, on a beautiful island. And I have also created here my own Ayurveda place called Ayu for Life. And I call myself a full-time unshakable optimist. I'm an island and nature lover. I don't have kids, but I have dogs, so I call myself a dog mom. And I just give you a little bit an insight that you get maybe a little bit more connected of myself. I live on a beautiful island. You see here, that's my home with my dog. I love to travel to India, kind of my Indian friends, my yoga journey. This is Dr. Arun Sharma, who has actually started to shine the Ayurvedic light into my life. More than 7 years ago. And I'm still studying with him, and I'm studying intensively throughout the last 3 years. Luckily, Corona came and he jumped online, so it made it possible for many of us to just do the studies without traveling to India. My dog, Lucky. But I also want to give you the opposite to see where I'm coming from. I will celebrate an anniversary of 10 years in March, not only my 40s, but also 10 years of anniversary leaving Germany. And after a burnout, creating a new life, and my life purpose, and living and teaching and sharing and studying what I really feel deeply connected from my heart. You see, it was a very different life. I worked in a corporate world. I worked as a key account manager. But this was definitely not my mission of life. But I always believe in the saying of everything happens for you, not to you. So this is a little bit about myself. I think we can keep that short, but I actually used for that presentation a different definition of Ayurveda than I usually do in my talks, in my workshops, because I really want to point out the feminine part of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is very feminine. Yeah, Ayurveda is feminine in all aspects. Yeah, in all aspects, the way we are teaching, the way we are talking in Ayurveda, the way we are looking at things, the compassion we are developing through Ayurveda, and all the manners of therapies we are applying, like treatments we are doing in Ayurveda, they're so feminine, because we are so closely working, of course, with Mother Nature, as many of the treatments apply the preparation from Mother Nature. And the application of oil, the oiliness, yeah, which is kapha, is so compassionate, so soft, so feminine. Yeah? And Ayurveda always seeks to heal, not to harm or invade anyone with anything. We're giving space for everyone to change or develop or to understand. Yeah, we're really seeking harmony and peace, and we are doing this through the understanding of the three great principles of the nature goddess. And I just use a little bit of different words here than you might use to. It's life, light, and love. And these understanding we call tridosha in the Ayurvedic system or science. And this is represented through movement, vata, transformation, pitta, and cohesion, kapha. And this really manifests the existence. So as a reflection of the divine mother, the feminine mother, the Mother Nature, Ayurvedic medicine really cares and nourishes without any judgment or opinion. And we're using strict disciplines of the loving mother, as I just said, to correct bad habits and teach habits that are in harmony with greater workings of the universe, with our personal, individual greater workings of our alignment with the universe. And Ayurveda will teach us peace and how to live in harmony with ourselves, others, and nature. And as you know, as soon as we're sinking into the circadian rhythm, into the natural flow of nature, then really healing begins. And this is also where prevention begins, because Ayurveda is a holistic and preventative approach to health and wellness. Yeah. And as I said in the beginning, Ayurveda empowers us women to be attuned to our bodies and to our health. And when you look in and know a little bit, as you might be familiar with Ayurveda and the studies, and maybe know about this, what I'm sharing with you already, when you look into the ancient practice, yeah, women are, or girls are raised in a very particular manner in India. Maybe that got lost a little bit, but in the Charaka Samahita, you will still read about this. And this got completely lost or not be practiced in the West at all. I won't go too much into explaining the 5 elements and the doshas and the gunas today. Of course, we will speak about the doshas, but just that you know, these are the main pillars in Ayurveda. And in my upcoming course, Ayurveda Menstrual Awareness, I will also speak more about in detail the doshas and the Pancha Mahabhutas, the 5 great elements, and the gunas, the 20 gunas, or the 20 properties, which are actually all our knowledge are based on. Yeah, just quickly, the Pancha Mahabhutas are the 5 elements, which are air, ether, fire, water, and air. And the doshas are vata, pitta, kapha. So just stopping here for a moment. There are any questions to this point? Or something to share or anything before we step into womanhood? No, everything clear so far? Okay, these are the 3 stages of womanhood. That is the 3 doshas, and they're traveling with us through our life in stages. They're traveling, the doshas traveling with us through our day, when you're familiar with the Ayurvedic clock. And these 3 doshas traveling with us through our menstrual cycle. But let's first start with the stages of womanhood and how that mirrors into our life. So we start in our life, and maybe to say something before is like, that doesn't mean, for everyone maybe watching the recording not so familiar with Ayurveda, the stages of womanhood doesn't mean that your dosha, your prakriti, your birth constitution is changing. This is only you're influenced by these stages of your life. Yeah, it doesn't mean it changed your birth constitution. Okay, this is very important. And yeah, probably now is the question, how do I find out my dosha? This can be done through an Ayurvedic consultation. Yeah. So the first stage in our life we're influenced by, that's the right word, is the kapha stage. Yeah. This is the stage of infants, when we come into this world, when we're discovering our childhood and we're becoming teenager. So, and then stepping into menage, yeah, our first menstruation. So this is all about growth. We are growing, we are developing. This is all about nourishment. This is all about growing our personality. This is all about building our immunity, our immune system, awakening our senses, tapping into this world. This is often when we have a little bit more, baby fat. We might be a little rounder, a little softer. This is all stage of kapha. Yeah, when we're building our immunity, it's all about building growth, development, attention, attachment also. As a baby in the kapha state, we are very attached to our mother, or to our parents, to our home, to our environment. And then when we're going and stepping into pitta stage, when everything becomes a little more fiery, as kapha is earth and water, when it becomes more fiery, maybe beginning your teenage, there are different numbers, some say 12, 15, we are stepping more in our fire quality of our womanhood. This is when we are building, building life, when we become independent, when we are focused to transform ourselves into this world. We are building a job, a profession, a passion. We are focusing on what we like. We might building family. Motherhood is very present in this stage of our life, as postpartum, pregnancy, years of responsibility. When we're really building our own life, we're becoming responsible of our life. Yeah, this is also dominated by transformation and digestion. Yeah, there's a lot to transform in this life. There's a lot to digest. This is often where we might have also a lot of digestive issues. Yeah, this is when the fire comes through and we are stepping from teenager into more adulthood, maybe with an attitude of fire. We know everything better. We detaching ourselves more from home and going our own path, finding ourselves, building a home. And this is the pitta stage, which we can say from 12, 15 to 50 or 55, when we then stepping into more the vata stage, which means for us women premenopause and menopause. And this is for each woman different, can start by the end of 40, 48 or even earlier, or just with 55. Every woman is different, as Ayurveda considers us as a unique individual. So everyone goes into that stages differently or with a different age. Especially menopause also depends on, of course, how you have treated yourself as a woman in your pitta stage. If you have really lived pitta stage and are a pitta, like me, you might have faced kind of burnout like me. And when the tissues are burned out and you haven't really recovered from that, or haven't not taken care very well of yourself, might be that menopause becomes a little bit more difficult. So everyone faces different symptoms going into that vata stage. Yeah, and this stage is predominantly influenced of degeneration, which as vata is, aging, but also there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of maturity. If we are reaching to vata stage, we can now apply our knowledge. Things become somehow a bit more calm. Even we know vata is not really calm, there's a lot of movement, but if we're entering as a woman this stage, there is a wisdom of maturity. We have learned something. Yeah, we can apply this knowledge. Yeah, either we share it or we just living this knowledge, with a lot of knowing and wisdom and intuition. These are the 3 stages of womanhood. So now tapping into, the Ayurvedic approach of menstruation, and everything actually begins with the relationship we have to our menstruation. And this is also what I'm observing in my profession, in my profession, but also around me in my friend circle, that our relationship with our menstruation is often very disturbed. Disturbed in the sense either we don't have a relationship with our menstruation because we might having very painful menstruation, or having no menstruation at all, therefore there is no connection, or we just experience very painful menstruation and just feeling like, oh my god, just get over that 3-5 days a month. I rather pop a painkiller and just go over it than to might investigate a little bit more and search for the root cause of my menstrual problems. Or there's a relationship of shame to menstruation. There is still even that is so common, and women have always menstruated, and will always menstruate. There's still a lot of shame around this topic of menstruation, of communicating that I'm a menstruating woman and might be in my menstruation right now, to buying sanitary products, more than it's such a taboo topic, or taking time for yourself when you're menstruating. And actually menstrual leave becomes quite an interesting topic in even Western countries. I will share with you in the recording. I don't know, you have watched it. I mean, I know Gabriella been part of it. I just did an interview with a very interesting woman, Sino Joseph. She has written a very, very interesting book called Ritu Vidya, and done a very, very amazing work in India around menstruation. And I was lucky to interview her. So I will share this interview with you. And we're speaking actually about the ancient menstrual practices and how we Western women can benefit from that, or how important actually it is to, rebirth these menstrual practices, which also are very much forgotten in India. Also in India, it's not practiced anymore. But if you're really learning and understanding about these menstrual practices and understanding the science behind and why women in India have in the past practiced this or still practicing that, it will really make our life as a woman much more enjoyable, and we can really tap into that connection to our femininity, to our womanhood, to our menstrual cycle, to our stages as a woman. Because I really see also an experience that being and feeling as a woman, really feeling that femininity we are, gets also lost. because we are so disconnected or still feeling ashamed or don't have the knowledge really about our menstrual cycle. And I think there should be no taboo, there should be no shame around this topic. It's something very natural, and we women need to start to talk about that again without feeling any shame or feeling discriminated or feeling lower than a man, or whatever is your your point not to communicate that you're menstruating and taking care of yourself. So yeah, this is the first point. In everything is your own relationship you have with yourself, with your female body, and with your cycle. And through that comes knowledge. As more we are having knowledge and what actually our cycle looks like and what we can do to have a healthy cycle, this is what Ayurveda is helping us. Any questions or any comments to that? Yeah, this is actually what I just shared with you. There's a lot of ignorance, and I really feel that we should embrace our cycle we are in whichever cycle. And I mean our menstrual cycle, I mean our cycle of life where we're in as a woman. And as we are all like going, maybe as I saw on the screen, in our 40s, I just shared with you, I'm turning 40. You might be older, over 40, in your 50s, in your menopause already. And I have to honestly share, it challenged me, my 40s, but also through this work is so much helping me to really appreciate myself and my aging and my changing and the cycle I am as a woman. Because we always want to look different or want to be different or not accepting the aging process we are in. But I think it's very important that we embracing the cycle we are in, either in the stage of our life, but also in our menstruation. And I found this very nice, as to visualize, we are not concrete, we are changing like a tree, and the tree is really cycling through release, to growth, to nurture, to have fruits and to blossom. In the same, we women should live this exactly throughout our life cycle, but also through the cycle of our menstruation, as we're traveling through season each month. This is also men don't experience like that. We experience 4 seasons, men just experience 24 hours. So let's dive and look a little bit into the Ayurvedic approach of menstruation, which we call Ritu Chakra, and the stages of menstruation. So first of all, let's understand what a healthy menstruation or menstrual cycle is looking like according to Charaka, the great teacher of Ayurveda, or the father of Ayurveda. So in the Charaka Samahita is written that a regular cycle is a healthy regular cycle is between 27 and 30 days. That can be fluctuating a little bit. I have women, they menstruating only 25 days or 32 days. This is just an average 27 to 30 days. And the bleeding should be bright red and should be washed out easily of your fabrics without any staining. And that's actually a nice practice if you're still menstruating, of course. You can take the blood, a drop of your blood from your first day, and just put it on 100% cotton fabric, just a drop, and then let it dry. And then try to wash it out. And see if it's really washed out easily or if there is a staining. And this actually gives an indication of the health of your blood, your period blood, and your overall health. I will teach more about this in my Ayurveda Menstrual Awareness course. But I think it's a nice practice. Try it out. There should be, according to Charaka, no pain. So it's not normal as it is actually in Western or like in our society now. It is quite normal. menstrual pain, but according to Charaka and the ancient knowledge, the Ayurvedic knowledge, it's not normal to have pain. So if we have a painful menstruation, then there is something to investigate why you have painful menstruation. Don't just accept it. Don't just ignore it. Yeah. And very important to mention is that our menstruation, or the health of our menstruation, is actually a reflection of our overall health. Yeah. So if our menstruation is not healthy, there is something to look at in all aspects of your health. And if the menstruation is not healthy, it will affect not just your physical health through pain and cramps and discomfort, but it will also affect your mental health. Yeah. And it might be not there, but if we are not doing anything to balance our menstruation again, it eventually will affect on a greater level. So a normal cycle is between 3 and 7 days and should be continuous and not like stopping bleeding. 3 to 7 days, it's really depending on what constitution you are. Yeah. In my course, we will also speak about what is a typical menstruation looking for a Vata woman, a Pitta, a Kapha. Yeah. Very often, for example, Vata's bleeding lighter and shorter, also more tend to painful menstruation through the drying aspect of Vata. And predominant Pitta women tend to have more excess bleeding through the fire. Yeah. There's a sharpness, there's intensity, there's more heat in the body, yeah, for example. So I think we also need to acknowledge the great job we are doing as a woman. We are doing a complex job of creating a new life. So we really have the powerful ability to create, but also it brings a lot of challenges and changes, as we already spoke about in the beginning or mentioned. And also we just have unique organs. Men don't have like the uterus, the ovaries, the breast. And I think this is very important to really be aware of our female organs and how they function. Yeah, and what symptoms of imbalance they can show, and how we can keep our female reproductive organs healthy. There's so much ignorance in the reproductive organs, and so much, disinterest almost. I feel that is what I have observed in my clients' patient. That sometimes it's just okay, it's for making love and to birth a child. This is sometimes what I see, especially in the young generations, which are shocking already suffering from absence of menstruation and don't really do anything to resolve the problem. To understand the changes and to adapt to it and not to interrupt the homeostasis of our body. So this is how we prevent female disorders and also understand our own cycle. So I don't want to go too much in this masterclass into how menstruation works, but I just want to bring to awareness the two hormones, estrogen and progesterone, we are quite aware of. And then we have FSH and LH, which are more coming in the mental aspect of the menstrual cycle. But estrogen is more strong in the first part of the cycle and goes up to ovulation. And after this, we get higher on progesterone. And then what's very important to understand for the menstruation or the bleeding time of the cycle is that estrogen and progesterone are low. And this is also why women need rest and relax when we are menstruating, because of these two hormones are low. And these are actually the hormones are our productive hormones, our creative hormones. They make us work, they make us function, they make us think properly. So when they are low, is naturally we don't function as well. Yeah, and I don't understand why women need to push while they're menstruating and overschedule themselves and just do their normal activity and high intensity trainings and gym and strong yoga practice and rushing around and dating and having even sex while they're menstruating. This is all kind of a no-go from an Ayurvedic understanding and learning the menstrual cycle from an Ayurvedic perspective, because estrogen and progesterone are low. So this really invites us, our female body invites us through these two hormones to really take time to rest while we're menstruating. And here comes in the great importance of menstrual leave, yeah, which is quite common in Asian countries like China, Japan, all these countries having that and practicing that for years. So I really, really hope that more Western countries will understand this as well and adapt to that. Spain already started to give paid menstrual leave, but unfortunately not many women taking advantage of that, because again, it comes back to the relationship of your menstruation or the relationship you have to yourself and the connection to have to your female body. Yeah, if this connection is not there, and if you have no compassion for yourself while you're menstruating, or you don't understand even your cycle or you're menstruating and what you actually need when you're menstruating, but also need in all stages of the cycle, as the cycle is not just menstruation. It's not just the 3-7 days where we women bleeding. It's a whole cycle of 27 to 30 days. And this is very important to understand. And how can a woman really take advantage of menstrual leave if this is even offered in her country and in her company, if she doesn't even know about her cycle and what she needs while she is bleeding? Yeah? But it was really, really helpful to increase or to balance our women health, and it would increase our productivity, and also it was just really built or rebuilt the connection to our femininity, to our womanhood, to being a woman. So I just want to give you an overall understanding of how we're thinking in Ayurveda the cycle works, and I will just tap into that briefly. So the cycle starts with the first day of bleeding and depends on how long you're bleeding and depends on what dosha you are. So what menstruating dosha type woman you are. But the first part of the menstruation, Rajasvala, is dominated and influenced by Vata and Pitta. Predominantly Vata, because here's the subdosha Apana. Vata is making the menstruation happen. Yeah? This is the downward movement. Yeah? And this downward movement should not be interrupted by anything. This should be your highest priority as a woman when you're on your menstruation, to keep that downward movement, that it's transport, yeah, Vata transport, Vata moves in a healthy flow. Yeah, so there should be no inversions be done while you're menstruating. Yeah, very important to keep Vata healthy and balanced while you're menstruating. Yeah, like continuing eating salads and cold foods and drinking cold drinks and eating heavy stuff is not really appropriated when you're menstruating. Yeah, and Sharaka actually gives us a very, very good menstrual routine. Yeah, to follow. All that I will more in detail teach in my upcoming course, which actually changed my life, I have to say, really. And also the connection to my menstruation, understanding what do I really need when I'm menstruating. There's so many women out there that say, oh, I'm feeling shit anyway, I'm menstruating, so I can really indulge in junk food or bad food, who cares? Yes, your system cares, your feminine body cares, your menstruation cares, your cycle cares. Yeah, what you're feeding yourself, and how you're treating, what action, what attitude you have in each stage of your cycle, and especially when you are bleeding. Yeah, are you the one ignoring your cycle? It's just easy to pop in the tampon or sanitary products, pop a painkiller if there's any pain, and just go on it as normal. Hit the gym, do your yoga practice as normal as you eat, just you rush through, you overschedule yourself, you meet your friends, you indulge in sexual activities. So then eventually this will not help to balance your female disorders, or eventually will lead to imbalances in your cycle. But first, everything in Ayurveda, everything we do, and you know that if you're an Ayurvedic practitioner yourself, is to create awareness. Yeah, if we are not aware, we are zombies. Yeah, so this is first awareness of what is going on without even having this knowledge. Starting with the awareness, what is happening in each stage of your menstruation, and without even knowing about Ayurveda, we knowing that there are different stages of in our cycle. Yeah, we're menstruating, we're ovulating. Yeah, at least we understand that, and just observing what is happening. How do I feel in my menstruation? And I was teaching a wonderful restorative yoga class for menstruation, and one of my clients in the end actually said, "Oh my God, Nancy, I never noticed how much rest my body actually needs in menstruation." And she was menstruating while we did the practice, and this is also what I hear a lot. Yeah, actually, I feel super good when I menstruate. Okay, this is perfect when you feel super good, but still, I invite you to put a little bit more attention and awareness into it, and you will actually see your body wants to rest. Yeah, it's just your mind taking over, to really listening carefully to what your body requires, the sensation, everything. Yeah, and I had to learn this myself, and actually I know now, oh my God, yeah, I really need rest. It doesn't mean we should sleep all day long when we're menstruating, by the way. Yeah, we should not aggravate kapha too much. So we should avoid everything what is interrupting in the downward movement. And also Pitta has a great part here, because if there's no Pitta, we're not bleeding. So we need the heat in the body to make the bleeding happening. But also here, coming to a little advice of food, we should not indulge into any kind of heavy food, oily food, heavy to digest food, or junk food, because Pitta is actually busy of making the bleeding happening. That means the capacity of Agni, digestive fire, our metabolic fire, is reduced while we are bleeding. Yeah, and when we are eating all this heavy crap food, which needs a lot of Agni to digest, that will interrupt into our menstrual, interrupt in our healthy menstrual flow. Yeah. So I think everything of this makes quite sense. And we are having irregular and painful or absence of menstruation if there's an excess of vata. Yeah. And when we speak about PMS, premenstrual syndrome, so the time before we are menstruating, a lot of women suffer from PMS. It's also considered a high vata dosha, sometimes comes with vata kapha, depends on your symptoms. Yeah, but this is actually when we really need to start treating vata, or calming vata, or nourishing vata. Yeah. And if there's an excess of Pitta, we consider that in Ayurveda as a Pitta aggravation. Yeah. For example, as I said, predominant Pitta woman will naturally have stronger menstruation. But if there's really an excess of bleeding, everything what is an excess, even when you're tapping into menopause and there's an excess of bleeding happening, or heat flushes, it's connected to Pitta. It's a Pitta aggravation. Yeah, something is excess, is extreme. I hope that makes sense. So after our period, that can maybe start day 8, maybe for some starts at day 5, depending on how long you're bleeding, to around the 16th day. We are going if you might familiar, somebody uses or likes to use also the seasons here, inner spring and inner summer. In Ayurveda, we have only 3 phases of the menstrual cycle, and if you go according to the seasons, there are 4. So the second phase is combining inner spring and inner summer, which after menstruation, pitta is even more rising, because we need pitta for our ovulation. If there is no pitta, there will be no ovulation. Yeah. So estrogen is rising to his peak, and also it needs to be hot and oily. Yeah, these are the gunas. Ujnam and snignam. Yeah, hot and oily. Otherwise, this is not happening. Yeah. So we go into the peak in this phase, facing ovulation. This is our kind of our superwoman phase. This is when we get really out of our little cocoon after we rested. Ideally, rested in our little cocoon, pulled ourselves a little bit more out of life activities. This is when we can jump back into life, when we can create. This is when we can jump into projects, when we can create, when we can launch, when we can do things like that, holding meetings, stepping more in our presence and our glow, and our maybe wanting to date or go out with our husband, date nights, connect more with our friends, with our girlfriends. We are more open in this space, and this should be honored as well. Yeah, this is the phase where you can really step out into the world and do all your creative and adventurous and pitta activities. Yeah. So we're peaking ovulation, and then after ovulation, I just make this very short. There's more to say to ovulation, obviously. And then after ovulation, kapha will rise. Yeah, because then the female body is preparing to hold the baby. So the endometrium lining will grow. This is the bed of the baby. This is done by kapha. Growth is always done by kapha. Yeah. But if no conception has happening, we didn't fall pregnant, then we're coming to going back into, let's go there. And in the autumn phase, luteal phase of the menstruation, which is dominated by kapha pitta, and then slowly we are sliding back just before into vata. Yeah. So what's actually happening? The kapha endometrium lining is growing. This is not happening. This is breaking down when we are not pregnant, and this is actually what is then menstruation. Yeah, this is in short our menstrual cycle, how it works from an Ayurvedic perspective. We are starting with dominant vata and pitta, then we're going into pitta, hitting ovulation, the climax of the cycle, and then going down when kapha accumulates. And you might feel that even after ovulation, you get a little bit of that, more into that heaviness, lethargic, maybe a little bit water retention if you have might be too much kapha in the body, too much ama anyway, and then going into that lightly vata comes up. This can be PMS symptoms, but also we call that non-bullshit phase. Yeah, when you have to really wrap up things, when no one can really, when we're really pulling out the things we might put under the carpet. This is the intensity of what comes just before the menstruation. You might have observed this. I'm really much always in that. When I really just speak out the truth, I get my sharpness. And of course, might be also observing we're getting a little bit indigestion around menstruation, or before menstruation. We are more tempted as a woman to be maybe constipated, for example. Don't have to be, but could be through rising of vata. Yeah, though this is the phases of the menstrual cycle from an Ayurvedic lens. Anyone, any questions to that? Or maybe any sharings you would like to do? Something made my aha moment of more understanding this cycle, as I kept it very short, but maybe someone would like to share something.
I can maybe share something. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. Very well. It's also based a little bit on the interview that you had the other day. in terms of resting and like just being aware. And it is so difficult sometimes for me, or I'm not even when I do some or go and schedule some appointments, I'm not really having this in mind. So what happened during my last menses, I had 2 doctor's appointments and I was traveling and I was like out the whole day and I was like, why did I do that? Because it's sometimes really so difficult when you schedule things in advance.
Yeah.
To really be aware of what time is it? Where are you within the cycle? So I always forget about looking into it, but I really try to, remind myself, hey, where I am in my cycle. Yes. Can I rest in between?
Yeah. Did you feel any particular symptoms of being quite overscheduled while you're menstruating? Did you feel had that any effect on you?
Well, it was not the first day, so it was okay. But I even got a little like, it was a tiny surgery even I had. And I was at a certain point, I got so tired and I just want to sit down and rest. So I was sitting down in a cafe and was just sitting there for 2-3 hours. And yeah, because I needed that.
Yeah. I totally hear you, and I can really share. It took me a while to find my system, how I remind myself, because it's so easily overlooked, to schedule according to your menstruation. And also we will speak more in my course about this, but what I really do, I put it in my calendar. I have it in my calendar. So as soon I have a menstrual app where I track my menstruation, but then also I put it in my calendar where I schedule appointments. So I have this 2 bleeding emojis in there. So I always, when I go and schedule appointments, no, this is really for my menstrual leave. So otherwise I would be, it really made a huge difference when I started to schedule it really seeable in my calendar. And since then, I'm quite strict. And of course, there are sometimes, occasions, but I'm quite strict with don't schedule anything in. Like, I also give Ayurvedic treatments. So I don't want to touch anyone when I'm menstruating. So I don't give treatments. I don't give talks outside if it's really, if I can really avoid it. I don't go much out anyway. And I would always look, actually, when I schedule talks like this, where I have to be a little bit more high performance, and also I try not to travel around my menstruation. So I mean, traveling, and sometimes, okay, you can't avoid it, I totally understand this, but traveling is really, really pushing Vata. This is when we are moving into the air, when we're changing gravity. And this is actually, you can observe this also, and I'm very sure, I haven't done the research yet, but I'm super, super sure that especially flight attendant women suffer dominantly from endometriosis, because they're constantly changing their gravity. And this is what endometriosis is. It's an upward movement of Vata. The movement of Vata is not going anymore in the right direction. This is when the endometrium lining is traveling up the body, internal. It goes to the ovaries, it goes to the large intestine. It can even go up to the eyes. So, and of course, then Pitta comes in with inflammation. So, I mean, endometriosis is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. But the course is really that, Vata is reversed, going into the wrong directions. And someone is constantly in the air. Someone is constantly traveling, constantly traveling while they're menstruating. There will be eventually problems, unfortunately. Yeah. And this is when you when you're suffering yourself from menstrual issues, you can look back into, how you lived your time as a young woman. What did you do? Yeah. What was your behavior? What was your action? What was your attitude? All of that has to be looked at in any cases when we look into finding the cause or the root cause of a disease, not just female disorders. Yeah. Yes. But this I can just give this as a tip, which really changed when I really schedule it into my calendar. So as soon as I open and I want to schedule something, oh no, we have to find another appointment. Yeah, I was meant
That's a good hint.
Yeah, and that's
really, I use the app as well, but I don't use it in the calendar. But that's
but exactly, in the app you don't go. Usually I only go in the app when I log my menstruation. But rather than this, I don't go into the app, and the app doesn't give me any notifications. At least I don't want that. So yeah, for me the best way was my calendar, which I use I don't know how many times a day. Yeah, and that really helps. Or at least to remind yourself, really, okay, I'm traveling, let's check it. Let's check when I'm menstruating. Can I schedule around or not? Yeah. So yeah, this is my tip.
Yeah, that didn't work out for me during the last big travels I had. I directly hit it.
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, yeah, because I know you have the freedom at the moment, at least, to schedule around. Some women, they have of course we cannot always have menstrual leave. It's not possible for everyone. I'm self-employed, I have my own company. I can schedule around that when I want to see patients or not. But someone who has a job from Monday to Friday, they might be not able to take menstrual leave. I totally understand this, but then at least try to not overschedule yourself. Do your work, go to your work, take it slower, let your boss know, or whoever, that you're menstruating, that you're on a lower grade, and then just go home afterwards. No need to go in a bar, to go shopping or meet your girlfriends or whatever you need to do. Yeah, just go home. And these particular days, just do the minimum of your obligations and then rest as much as you can. Yeah. And I was actually also, I want to share this with you, what my Bhagavad Gita teacher shared with me as a feedback also from this interview. She's Indian. She said to me, she has 2 boys, and she was always sharing this in her family. She said to them, mommy is menstruating, so I'm a little bit lower. I need to rest. I need a little bit more time for myself. Please accept that. And this, I think, is something very important in our relationship with ourselves and our family, to really let our kids know from the beginning. So what actually is this doing? First of all, you taking responsibility and care of yourself, but think ahead. You also teaching already your kids, if man or woman. First, your daughter will learn from you. Yeah, and you will give to your daughter, and your daughter will hopefully have a much more healthy menstruation. But also teaching the man who becomes so aware. And she's saying now they are so aware and giving their woman their space and understanding when a woman is in their woman, they have kids already and they're married, they're in their cycle, because they have learned it from the mom. It was something very natural, communicated in the family. And I think this is so important. Yeah, this is really a call out or a request, to all parents, either daughters or boys, to share this as a mother, that you are menstruating and what does it mean to you to menstruate, and require your rest and your time. And yes, and they will learn from this. They will become really good men. Yeah. We're already going a little bit over the time. I just want to tap shortly into a few menstrual practices, as I already have mentioned a few. So I just jump over that and just, so what Charaka gives us, what we should do when we're menstruating. So again, menstrual leave is the overall, like giving yourself relax and rest time as much as your responsibility or obligation allow you. Of course, following a specific diet Yeah, and also to stay away from sexual intercourse, because what's happening when we're making love while we're menstruating, we're activating vata. So actually everything he gives us is to tell us to keep vata balanced. Yeah, don't activate vata, and sexual activities are increasing vata. Yeah, so we don't want to always increasing vata. But when we're out of our menstruation, we can do things to balance that. But we don't actually want to push the blood upwards. Again, remember, the blood is flowing downwards. We want to keep that downward movement. Yeah? This really needs to stick with you. Yeah. So, of course, don't is sexual activities. Also, not receiving any massages. Yeah, because we are in oxidative stress while we are menstruating. I don't want to go too deep into that explanation. Very interesting concept, by the way. But also, we don't want to apply any oil. So our Abhyangam self-massage should be also not done, because that would clog the pipes, the scrotas, and we don't want to clog anything. We just want to keep the free flow, the free fall. Yeah? Not indulging in any heavy and junk food. We said this already. High intensity training in gym is not a practice to do while you're menstruating. Light, gentle, restorative yin yoga is fine. Actually, sometimes really good to have some movement practices while you're menstruating, especially if there's a lot of kapha accumulation as well. Don't argue. Menstruation is not the time to dissolve any of your relationship issues, either on your work or with your friends. Yeah. If there's anything to dissolve, or a stronger conversation or anything, just keep it. Let them know you're menstruating, you're low. It would be not worth to discuss with you anything. Let them wait 2-3 days, and it will be a much better result. Yeah, just try this out. I tried this now many times. I said, hey, I'm not up for this. Let's wait 2 days after my menstruation, and then we can go into that topic. Yeah. So we should also not be sad. Crying should be avoided, or going through hard intentional mental times. We should really enjoy our menstruation as well. Menstruation is a gift to us women. And it's not just only for childbirth. It's also a gift to cleanse your body every month from ama, undigested products, the toxins in the body. We women cleansing through that, through the menstruation. Yeah. Hi, who doesn't want to be cleansed every month? Men don't have that, We should really celebrate our menstruation. Also, water on the head or bathing should be actually avoided, because it's said in the ancient knowledge that water is stopping the bleeding. Okay, we're coming to an end of this masterclass. So thank you so much for attending live and watching the replay. I just want to invite you to my Ayurveda Menstrual Awareness 4-week online course, which starts on the 11th of March, goes over 4 Saturdays live with me on Zoom for 2 hours plus, where we're going much, much deeper into that topic, where I will really teach the doshas, the influence of the gunas, what food to eat, what practices to do, what are the ancient menstrual practices we can adapt to make our life more healthy, more balanced as a woman. How can we bring a healthier attitude to our womanhood and connect more with our body and our female cycle again, which I think it's a game changer in our world, not just with ourselves, but also with the people around us. Yeah. And this particular course is either you have a healthy menstruation, but just want to get more awareness. Yeah, what actually you can do to prevent and keep your menstrual cycle as healthy as it is. But unfortunately, it is often not the case. But this course is also, jumping a bit over that, for if you have any struggles in your menstruation, to find balance and better understanding where the root cause could be. Yeah, and I have women improving their cycles through this course and this knowledge. And also, I'm inviting every mother to bring their daughter, or if the daughter is still too young, come really not just for yourself, but come also to teach your daughter about this knowledge. It is so important. I would have wished my mother would have shared that knowledge with me. And but it's never too late. As I say, I'm grateful where I am, and whichever stage of my life I came to this knowledge, I'm now here to share it. So yes, this is what we do in this course. We're learning also how exactly what we did just on my talk with Gabriella, more to adapt your cycle through your calendar, where you are more productive, and what amazing Ayurvedic remedies you can bring into each stage of your cycle to balance. Yes, thank you so much for attending. I wish all women that you might move through all phases of life feeling healthy, relaxed, and filled with appreciation and joy for your female body, for yourself. Thank you everyone for attending. If you have any more questions, please let us know. The recording will be sent out in around 48 hours. My assistant just shared the link for the course in the chat box, so have a look for more details. Or if it's not for you, please feel free to share it with anyone you know who would really, really benefit from that knowledge. Thank you so much. Are there any questions or any sharings before we close? Thank you, Guinness. Thank you. I hope that was beneficial knowledge, and maybe for those who are already into Ayurveda, something new or a different perspective to it. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Hope to see you again. Have a wonderful Saturday. Bye-bye. Namaste.